Hey everyone, this is Dr. Hepburn. I hope you're having a great day. I wanted to record a very short video for you to help you as you begin to write your very first essay for English 101. I know that for many of you, this is sort of a terrifying process. Hopefully, thus far in class, you have come to see that the writing process is not quite as scary as perhaps you thought it would be, and that you're finding that you're doing really, really well. So I want to congratulate you all on your hard work and your effort to attend to your studies and to begin to express yourself more freely and easily and to really get comfortable with the writing process. So this week, we are going to begin writing our first draft of our narrative essay. And the assignment asks you to write about a personal event, something that was really important to you, that happened to you over the course of your life, and then to share that story with readers. Writing a personal narrative is probably one of the easiest types of writing assignments that you can have in an English class. However, it is not just like telling a story to your best friend, okay? So just know, it's an easier form of writing, but it requires some skill, and it still requires that you pay attention to good essay format, because you're not just having a conversation with a friend. Instead, you're trying to convey your story through words, and they're going to be reading your story. So it's really important that we have some good format, and we make sure that our story makes sense, right? So the last couple of weeks, we've been looking at different types of essays and writers who have shared stories written about specific experiences or events. And you've sort of been able to pick out that sometimes they used a lot of emotion, or perhaps they used some more information, factual type information, that they tried really hard to connect with their audience, or they shared a lot of descriptive details. So many of you noticed these things as we were reviewing these various essays in class. So now as you sit down and you begin to write your own experience, this is what I want to sort of help you, to guide you, so that you can develop a really good story and you'll feel comfortable and confident sharing that story in a written format. So first of all, most importantly, your story is your story. And that's a blessing. It's a wonderful thing, because this is an experience that really helped to develop you as a person. However, keep in mind that your reader doesn't know anything about you. Your reader has never met you. They've never talked with you. They don't know any of your history or the details of your life. So you need to keep that in mind as you begin to write. You're sharing a story that your reader has no knowledge. There's no prior knowledge there. So you want to make sure that you don't just drop us in the middle, share a little bit of story, and then sort of leave us hanging, right? Think about maybe you've watched a really horrible movie where you were watching it and you thought, I don't know what's going on here. There's all these details, but this doesn't make sense. We can do that when we share our own personal stories with other people. So we have to think about the fact that my reader doesn't really know anything about me. I want to make sure that they understand when this story took place, exactly when it took place, and sort of how it developed. And then I want to leave them with some lasting impression, and hopefully that's a lesson that you learned, or something that you really came to understand as a result of this experience. So when you get started, this is what I want you to keep in mind. Your story will always have a beginning, a middle, and an end. No matter when it took place, you don't have to start back when you were born, but your story had a beginning, a middle, and an end. You want to make sure that you write your story using a good framework. And so if you remember back to high school, right, we always write a 5-paragraph essay. We use this structure. We sort of build on it. So for longer research papers, we write more paragraphs. But generally, we have an introduction, a middle section, and we have a conclusion. All of our writing, regardless of the genre, will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So we'll have an introduction, a middle section filled with lots of good details, and we'll have a conclusion that sort of wraps up and sort of leaves the reader with a really good feeling that they've grasped everything that needed to be told along the way. So your story will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Your essay will have an introduction, a middle section, and a conclusion. You want to use APA style, and in another video that I'm going to post for you, I'm going to walk you through setting up your cover sheet. Some of you are doing really, really great with it, and I appreciate that. But we need to make sure that we're always using an APA cover sheet for all of our written work, And we begin to practice doing that regularly. You're going to have to do this in all of your classes, so it's really best to learn how to do it now and to get comfortable with it so that it's kind of a no-brainer, I like to say. It's just something you do. Every time you write an assignment, you know you have to do these certain things. So your narrative story, beginning, middle, and end, most important. Another thing that's really, really important is that your reader understands the time that was involved. If you're writing about a story where you gave birth to a child, right? Your child may have been born in 2000 or 2005 or 2010. It's really important that you tell your reader when these particular events took place. Put them on a timeline. Now, that doesn't mean you have to write, in 2010, this happened. In 2011, this happened. In 2012, this happened. That's sort of like a big laundry list, and it doesn't make for very interesting writing. But we want to make sure that our reader understands, I'm going to be telling you about a story that took place in 2010. And I'm going to share with you that this particular event that took place in 2010, what happened as a result and how my life changed. And perhaps I became a better person, or perhaps I learned something really phenomenal that has changed my whole perspective, my whole outlook on life. Okay? We want to make sure that we set sort of a timeline and that our reader understands that the story that you're going to read starts here and it ends here, right? So keep that in mind. Dates are very important. Descriptive detail is also very important. And again, your reader doesn't know anything about you, doesn't know where you're from, doesn't know where you live, doesn't know what job you do, doesn't know what your hair looks like, right? Or whether you are a big guy or a little guy, or whether you have 5 children or no children, you're single, married. The reader knows nothing about you. So it's very important that you provide detail. You don't have to go down to the little minutiae of detail, right? But you want to make sure you provide what I call rich, thick, descriptive detail. So think senses, right? What you see, what you hear, what you smell, right? What you touch, and if it's something that you're tasting, what you taste. Describe your senses. So you need to think back. If you're writing about something that happened a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago or from your childhood, try and remember as much sensory detail. What the room looked like, right? What did you smell? How did you feel? Did you touch things, right? Give those wonderful descriptive details. Imagine it this way. If you walked into a room that was absolutely a white box, there was no detail. And you were forced to imagine a story that was completely in a white box. And your reader's telling you that this story takes place outside, but you're in a white box. How can you imagine what the writer is telling you about, right? All of these things, the trees and the sky, you're in a white box. You have to make sure that your reader sees what you see, that your reader hears what you heard, right? That your reader can almost be there with you. Now, that is not as easy as it sounds. I understand that. But I want you to do your best. Try and provide detail. This essay is going to challenge you in word count. If you feel that you are writing 3 paragraphs and you're done, that's it. I've told my story. There's nothing more. Think again. There's always more. Make sure that your introduction helps transition your reader into the story. Give them some background detail. Talk about why this story is so important to you and what it means to you or what it meant to your family. Think about your conclusion. What are those takeaway thoughts? What do you want your reader to think about, right? As they put your story down and they walk away, we want them to think a little bit, right? That this story really mattered to you and it made a difference in your life. Perhaps it could make a difference in their life. So think what you want that sort of final lasting impression to be. And then go back to the middle and look at each one of those paragraphs and say to yourself, did I fill in all the gaps? Does my reader know that this event took place here and in this town and I was this age and these were the particular details around this life event? If not, if you were sort of skimpy on those details, go back and fill them in, and I promise you, you will make the word count. So that's my encouragement for you this week as you begin to prepare your first draft of this assignment. Keep in mind, you're going to turn in this draft to me. I'm going to grade it. You won't really have an opportunity to refine it, so I want you to do your best effort with it. Our next assignment after this is a persuasive essay, and I'm going to give you a lot of pointers on how to do that. So watch my video on how to set up your cover sheet. I've put some extra supplemental materials up in Blackboard under the supplementary materials link there, some things that might help you a little bit. And if you have any questions, make sure to reach out to me. I'm always available to help you. And I just wish you a great day and a great week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.